There's this amazingly encouraging verse in Mark chapter 14, verse 27 that says, "You will all fall away." Now, I say that tongue in cheek, but I actually love that because when we read the end of Jesus' life before the cross, we often think of Judas as the only one who's unfaithful. But no, here's Jesus at the end of the story at dinner with his disciples, looking at all of them saying, "You will all fall away." The verse continues and says, Jesus told them, "For it is written, I will strike the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered. But after I have risen," note this, "I will go ahead of you into Galilee." But Peter declared, "Listen, even if all fall away, I won't." "Truly I tell you," Jesus answered, "today, yes, tonight, before the rooster crows twice, you yourself will disown me 3 times. But Peter insisted emphatically, "Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you." And all the others, note that, all the others said the same. It starts with, "You will all fall away." Literally all of them. And then Peter takes the lead and says, "No, we won't. No, we won't, and I sure won't." In this, we learn something, friends, about human nature, that we overestimate. The overestimations of ourselves is not like a personality thing. More likely, it's just a human thing. Maybe more accurately, we tend to overemphasize the extents of our own obedience and loyalty. But that's not the best part of the passage. It's not just to note the humanity of this. The best part, in my opinion, of all of those verses is verse 28. Because Jesus says, "After I have risen, I will go ahead of you into Galilee." Where all of this started, where we've spent so much time doing ministry. It's like Jesus is saying to them, you are going to fail and fall away. And when you do, I'll meet you back at our place. I'll meet you back at our spot. Friend, I just want to encourage you today that there's no failure we ever experience when Jesus doesn't extend the invitation back to the place where we go to meet and dwell with him. There is no sin so small that it doesn't deserve the punishment, doesn't deserve wrath, doesn't deserve death in its own essence. And yet there is no sin so large that it could ever erase grace. Tim Keller said it like this. He said, "We are probably more wicked than we ever dared to believe." I mean, if we're being honest. And yet we are more loved and accepted in Jesus Christ than we've ever dared to hope. This passage points out our nature. It shows us all as a reflective mirror that we were frail, that we're sinful, we tend to wander. And yet, even in those moments, we are loved, cherished, forgiven, and beloved. That's why the communion table, as Jesus is at that table in this moment, is the great human equalizer, because not one of us would dare approach it with even a hint of haughty pride of being better than anyone else. We know that the phrase, "you will all fall away," also refers to us. And yet in this kind of new Passover, the elements that represent Jesus, we take those things in remembrance as we really recalibrate the view of ourselves in light of the goodness of God, who says, even in your own failure, you can meet me back at the place that you and I dwell together. I hope today, friends, you go to that place in prayer with God today, no matter what you're going through, knowing that you are loved, beloved, cherished, and accepted there, regardless of what else has happened and what else may be done, because God's goodness allows us to have better days and look forward to good in the midst of what often looks like dark nights.